thank you everyone for coming to this meeting this evening. It's obviously an opportunity for people that are entrepreneurs and to build and develop their businesses. Tonight, as you know, we're going to be covering three main areas. One is obviously going to be business financing, so entrepreneurs looking to raise and get finance into their businesses. Here's an opportunity for you to do that. We have obviously investors here that can actually help you to achieve that. Now, the organisation, the guy who's introducing who's presented today is Jonathan, and he actually founded an organisation called Rockstar Mentor Group.
I'm seeing some familiar faces here, and I'm seeing some new faces as well. So it's a pleasure to be here. And Dwight and I last saw each other at an event where I was speaking out for a law firm, and he was a guest there as well, and asked if I was able to come down and speak to his network, and as a client of Rockstar and as a friend, and it was an absolute pleasure to be here. Some of you might be asking, as a company that's got a large investment fund, has invested 10 million last year, big name mentors, that started, grown, built companies for an average of 18 million quid, why the hell is it called Rockstar? What does that have to do with what you do as quite a corporate entity, and what you do? It all sounds very serious. Why on earth would you call yourself Rockstar? And the answer is, I was a singer in a rock band. And from the accent you can tell I'm not originally from here, but I'm from Sydney, Australia. I've been living here now for just under 10 years, so firstly thank you for having me. It's an amazing country and city. London is now home for me. It has been, as I said, for nearly a decade, and I absolutely love it here. So I couldn't ask for a more amazing city for entrepreneurship, I have to be honest with you. Who's on LinkedIn here? Who usually gets a message from a stranger they don't know, which is either, hi, I want to connect with you, or hi, I don't know who you are, but I'm going to sell to you? That we get most of the time? What do we do with those messages?
The leads.
The leads. Now, I got this idea a few years ago when someone sent me a cold message and they said, dear Jonathan, I want to connect with you because what I think you're doing at Rockstar is changing entrepreneurship in the UK forever.
You connect.
She connected with me. I didn't write it.
Did you marry her?
I didn't marry her, no. But I tell that story, I've been telling that story for years. A personal, complementing connection, and that's what I did on LinkedIn to start Rockstar. I built the filter down. You know what my personal connection was? I messaged them and I said to them, firstly, congratulations on the brand and business that you've built. I've been a big fan of your company for a long period of time. I'm looking to set up a new mentoring and investment company, and before I do, I would love to get your input as to whether or not you think there's a market for this. I'm inviting you for an event at my new accountant's office. The reason I chose this accountant is because when I did the tour, they said, if you ever want to host an event in our reception, it's here for you. Didn't know how good they were at building a balance sheet, but I liked the reception, and I leveraged off the accountants, and I called them up and I said, you wouldn't mind if I had 100 people come into this reception who are all, by the way, turning over between $500,000 and $5 million quid. By the way, I'll give you death by PowerPoint. You have every right to stand up there and promote your accountancy firm, but I want that room. And amazingly, the accountant agreed. That got me my free space in London 6.5 years ago when I started Rockstar. So it started with 5 mentors 6.5 years ago. The website was pretty crap, but the product was good. And through specific targeted market research, we identified who our perfect customers were, where they hung out, online and offline, and a very strategic approach is to gauge interest with them, go after them, and get them to come. Now, at the time, we had one product, and our product was effectively 8 hours of mentoring a month, 1 day a month, for 2,500 quid. But to summarise, guys, I want to firstly thank you for your time. Obviously I'm around to answer any more questions one-to-one, but I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into the group, what the journey was, and Dwight, thank you very much for having me, guys, and thank you so much for listening.